I know I was wearing white, and I know that I was wearing a pair of suede shoes because that suede pair of shoes has never been the same, bless its heart. Hey y'all, it's Megan. If you are returning to my channel, welcome back, and if you're new, welcome aboard. Have you ever been on your socials, whichever one you use, and they give you the memories or like the this day in such and such year where it tells you whatever you posted? So I was reminded of a time a few years back. I had an incident happen that morning that was just a cluster. There's really no other way of putting it. I thought I would share another story where I'm kind of just a hot mess all over the place, but also give some insight into why I left that job. So I took a job directly out of college. I graduated a year before my husband because he transferred after his sophomore year, and I also came in with like a bunch of AP credits and everything. So like for various reasons, I graduated a year before my husband did from college. And I took a job thinking I was just going to be there for like a year and then we would probably move to Florida. But then my husband started going for advanced degrees, and now he's gotten his master's and he's finishing up his PhD, and maybe eventually we'll move to Florida, who knows. But so I took a job not planning for it to be like a career, you know. I took a job and I was basically a secretary. That's the long and the short of it. I did do some social media and stuff like that, some editing, because my degree is in social media advertising. So I did do some of that, but for the most part, I answered phones, I helped around the office, like I was a secretary. So one of the things that I had to do was keep the like fridge and pantry stocked. It was a very small company. So I had to keep drinks stocked, and that is where our story takes place. I was in the kitchen and I was getting sodas put into the fridge, and I don't know if every place does this, but I do this. When you put fresh drinks into the fridge, you put them at the back and you move the cold ones forward, right? Like this is, I think, a courtesy, because no one wants a hot soda. Ugh. No, absolutely not. Unless you're my parents' friend, Kurt. I think he used to drink like warm, like actively room temperature Mountain Dew on purpose, which just sounds like a circle of hell. But anyway, I'm taking sodas and I'm putting them to the back. I'm moving the cold ones forward, putting the new ones at the back. I get to the Pepsi, and that shouldn't matter. That's not like an important detail other than the fact that I'm a Coke gal. I'm Southern. We believe in good old Coca-Cola, where everything's Coke, actually. I grew up with everything is Coke. What do you want? A Coke. Which kind? I'm getting a Pepsi and I'm putting it in the back. And as I am wont to do, because I'm clumsy, I bumped one of the ones in the front. And when I bumped it, it fell out of the fridge. No big deal, right? Except for this can of Pepsi hit in such a way that it exploded. And it didn't just explode like it popped open in one spot. This can, it was like it was trying to shotgun itself. if that makes any sense. It had multiple holes just from hitting the ground one time. I don't know how it happened, but it had holes. And I was trying to like cover all of the holes. I picked it up, it's spraying everywhere. This one singular can, 12 fluid ounces. You wouldn't think could cover that much distance and do that much damage, but oh boy howdy, I'm here to tell you, cover the entire kitchen. What do I do with it? And I'm like, I run to the sink. This can is spraying from every possible angle. I'm holding it down the sink. I'm just holding and like turning my head while the pressure releases and it finishes spraying out. So it's finally ceased. And you would think that like this was the like main part of the story, the fact that I like dropped a can and it sprayed. No. No. So the can is done. I leave it sitting in the sink, a sink of shame, and I look about. I know I was wearing white, and I know that I was wearing a pair of suede shoes because that suede pair of shoes has never been the same, bless its heart. Not everyone was there yet, so it wasn't like I had an audience for my like fumbling. And oh dude, I would pay money to have had a camera on the wall and see the can fall, me panic, me grabbing the can, me trying to plug the holes, me running across the kitchen to get it in the sink and then avoiding the spray. One of my bosses, co-workers, the HR person. The HR person is single-handedly the reason that I and at least 4 other people left that company. Because there was one singular HR person and they were not nice. We'll say that. At some point, maybe I will have the gumption to tell more stories, air my grievances. It's not a good situation. And one of the reasons that I left was this particular day, and you'll see why. Get basically a whole roll of paper towels, and I'm just desperately going around and trying to clean this floor. I'm sopping and I'm sopping, and I get it up, and this wasn't a huge kitchen, but the whole floor is covered. So I get the majority of the actual liquid up, and I'm like, of course it would have been like a regular Pepsi. It couldn't have been like diet or anything where it might have been slightly less sticky. It couldn't have been a LaCroix. Why wasn't it a LaCroix? They were right there next to them. They had a custodial like cleaning service that came in and cleaned. So there wasn't like a mop. There wasn't even like a Swiffer wet jet or something like that I could go and use to clean this floor. So what I did, I went to my desk and got my personal stash of Lysol wipes because I'm neurotic. This is how I am. I'm scrubbing the floor. I'm on my hands and knees scrubbing the floor. It took me close to an hour to scrub all of the sticky up. And as I'm doing this, not one single person came and offered to help, which was fine. It was my mess. So like I was happy to clean it up. But the HR person walked through, and as I am literally on my hands and knees, covered in Pepsi, covered in dirt, scrubbing the floor with my own personal cleaning supplies, they walk through and start stepping and like kind of like grinding their feet, you know, doing that number and going, you missed a spot here, you missed a spot here, and just tramping through the spots that are still sticky and then leaving like the dirt residue from the bottom of their shoes. You know how when there's a sticky spot, it really collects everything. They did that a couple of times. I don't know if they did it to embarrass me or to annoy me or just because that's who they were. And you know, maybe they weren't doing it maliciously. Maybe that's just who they were and they thought they were helping. I don't know. I'm not here to speculate, but I am here to say that was one of the like final straws in me staying there. I stayed there for 7 years. This job that I thought I was gonna have for 1 year, I stayed for 7 years before I was like, I'm done. So it's not like I was there for like 30 minutes and gave up on this. I gave it the old college try. Like I said, beside the point, different story for a different day. But yeah, I'm scrubbing the Pepsi, and they are walking through and like grinding their feet and being like, here's the spot you missed and here's the spot you missed, Cinderella, come back and scrub this a little bit better. So I did finally get it clean, and then I went back to my desk and I proceeded with my day. I did smell like Pepsi for the rest of the day, and I jokingly say that the moral of this story is to drink Coke and not Pepsi. However, the moral of the story is really, if you are in a job that you don't feel valued, or you actively come home crying, screaming, raging, singing every profane revenge song that you can find, maybe find a different job. So that is it. That's just another little snippet of why Meaghan should not be allowed in public, why I am just like a hot mess continually at all times, and why you should drink Coke products instead of Pepsi products. As a good Southern girl, I feel like it's my duty to give you that PSA. Have you ever sprayed yourself down with soda? First of all, like, tell me if I'm not the only one that this has happened to, because the eau de Pepsi is not my favorite scent. But tell me about a time at one of your jobs where you were just like, you know, this ain't it. This ain't it. Let me know down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, y'all.